Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 109 of the Pressure Point podcast on this beautiful Monday evening here in Melbourne as the final round of the home and away season is upon us. And very different feelings for the two of us at the moment. It's been an emotional weekend and I'm sure we're going to really dive into it over the next 40 to 60 minutes.
I think we will, absolutely. But yeah, you're right. It's a very, very different feeling, especially probably the way we've been feeling all year. It's probably reversed the roles a little bit, potentially. But it was an interesting round of footy. A lot happened. I may as well just dive into it, I guess, shouldn't we?
Well, yeah. When you pretty much got what we were so badly after and was the finals lock that you secured. And, yeah, we were 10 seconds away from it and got pinched. Absolutely pinched from us. Well, this is bringing. I feel like I got a lot of it off my chest tonight when I first rocked up here. But geez, that was a bloody tough pill to swallow. And you were at the game and I wasn't, which is weird. But
it was weird. It was weird being there. It was one of those ones. It was like from a neutral fan, unreal game of football. I'm sure even Carlton supporters can recognise that. It was unbelievable. But yeah, obviously he just ended in heartbreak with Cozzy Pickett. I don't know how he pulled that goal out of his ass. And then to see players like Jake Melksham and Jaden Hunt playing the games of their lives as well, you know, for guys that are normally fringe players and just, you know, turn it on like that unexpectedly. It was definitely a sight to behold. Well, I know you were at 30th that night, so you couldn't quite get there. What were your takeaways? I'm sure you were still watching pretty intently.
Yeah, it was at 30th, and it was on the big screen. Funnily enough, I wasn't expecting to catch much of it, but it was right there in front of me, and I kept a close eye on it, but didn't really look at it too closely. But from what I could see, it just looked like a really low-scoring defensive game. I didn't realise how good the game was until I watched the replay the next day. But yeah, once it started heating up in that second half, oh boy, I was going a bit crazy. But when Charlie kicked that goal, I thought, here we go, it's done. Finals are secured finally. We're going to beat Melbourne, like the reigning premiers. Is this like, are we back to that form from a few weeks ago? And then the last 2 minutes, we just couldn't finish the job. I mean, yeah, we had the ball at our half-forward line with 1:30 to go, and you think we just chip it around, which we tried to do, and somehow Matt always misses a target from 15 metres away and falls on the ground, and Adam Sard's forced to kick to a contest, and it all sort of unravelled from there, and the Dees got it forward, and yeah, as you said, Cozzy, how did he kick that? I don't know. But
he hadn't really done a lot for the night either. No. It was sort of one of the only. He kicked in a nice goal earlier in the game, but other than that, he hadn't really been seen too much. So I think he just saw the opportunity and he somehow grasped at it. But it's interesting how it's a game of inches. I mean, I know it's a cliche thing to say, but it really is. I mean, that kick to Sard hits its target. Sard holds onto the ball for another 10, 15 seconds. Yep. Hits another short one or launches it long, but that extra time, it would have all changed things completely.
Absolutely.
So, the kick that just missed him, if it just hits him, it's a completely different story we're talking about. So it's heartbreaking, and I can tell you that I've been there, so I know what the feeling's like, but maybe not with as much on the line as what you guys had.
It was just with what was on the line, and and that we had it there. We were 8 points in front with 2 minutes left, and thought it was there, but yeah. Apart from that, though, geez, it was a bloody good game. As I said, I had to watch the replay to really see that, and yeah, it was two quality teams just really going at it. It looked like it was a finals-like contest. It was fierce. The intensity was massive, and I can't lay the most tackles of any team this season with 87, which is huge. And I mean, we had to show something after a really bad 2-3 weeks. And yeah, we almost pulled off a great win, but now it's all part of the script, though, isn't it? We have to get the job done against our arch rival Collingwood to secure it.
It was almost written in the stars. I think Terry, our mate Terry from Blue Abroad, said that in the fan cams after the game. He said it's almost like it was it
had to happen. It
had to be like this. Yeah, it had to be that fierce contest. Collingwood need to win, make top 4. You guys need to win, make top 8, and it's it's all set up to be an absolute ripper at the MCG this Sunday, which we'll talk about obviously a little bit later. But yeah, it was unbelievable game.
That heartbreak from this loss will be completely forgotten about if we can knock Collingwood off next week. Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But hopefully the players don't forget about it all week. Like you want this to sit with them.
You want it to sting.
Yeah, 100%. Like
which it will. They looked absolutely distraught after that.
Yeah, I think they knew what it meant.
Yeah.
So anyway,
let's move on to your club. They had a very different story over the weekend.
Absolutely. Well, look,
played a very different team.
We played an undermanned Hawthorn, who had a lot of their stars not playing. I think CJ was out, Sam Frost was out, Wingard, Warble, Mitch Lewis. They had a lot of their stars out, and being that they're not going to play finals now, it made sense. Put them on ice for the rest of the year. So it was we expected to win this, and we did it quite comfortably. 61 points. Tom Lynch kicked 8 goals. I thought he was going to go for 10. It would have been nice to see him kick the 10, but I don't know. He didn't really do a lot in the last quarter. They had him on the bench a lot. I thought maybe he was injured, but he came on. Didn't really get near it in the last, but didn't need to. He'd done his job. So, look, good signs. You can only beat who's in front of you, I guess. But yeah, nothing to really get too excited about. We beat Hawthorn with half their side out. So it was still good to win, obviously. And I guess the opposite of what Carlton did on the weekend. We were lucky enough to lock in our spot for the 8 this year. We don't know where we're going to finish yet, but we know where we'll play finals regardless. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to have the Tigers back. 1 year off.
Just a lull.
Just a lull. And, I mean, we all thought it was going to be another year off. You got pretty close to not even getting there at all. With that, you lose to Brisbane that game a few weeks ago. You're probably not making it.
Well, exactly. If we lost to Brisbane, we would have had to have beaten Port, Hawks, and then Essendon 3 weeks in a row. But I don't reckon we would have gone to Adelaide and beaten Port if we didn't have the confidence from beating Brisbane, if that makes sense. So, I think before that Brisbane game, I was very sceptical about whether we were going to play finals or not. So, everyone's perspective kind of changed once we got over Brisbane, albeit at the G, where they don't really win very often, do they? So, it was, suited us a little bit. But, we'll take it, absolutely. So, we're playing finals, and it'll be good to go back.
Well, what's the likely scenario for the Tigers match up in the first week?
I've been hearing, I think there's around 200 different possibilities that there could still be for the top 8, the way it shapes up, which, we're going to mention a little bit later in the broadcast. But in the broadcast. Like it's live. In the podcast.
We're on Channel 7.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just getting used to it, mate. We're going to be there one day. We're going to be there. Well, anyway, so like I was saying, there's so many possibilities. Like, for example, if you guys knock off Collingwood this week, and then Freo win, we win as well. We'll finish 7th. Collingwood finishes 6th. We play Collingwood first final. Yeah, we could play Freo first final. We could play Brisbane. We could play anybody at this stage. I think the only one that's guaranteed we're not going to play is Carlton,
unless we both win first week of the finals.
Yeah, I'm talking about first week of the finals. We're not going to play. Thank God. I don't know if I could do another elimination final against Carlton at the G. Yes. So I'm glad that's not going to pan out that way. But so there's so many possibilities. Yeah. I'd love to play Collingwood just so we can stay in Melbourne, don't have to fly out. Although having travelled interstate for a final before, it is a good experience. So I wouldn't hate it at the same time, as long as it's not Perth where the flights are $500.
Yeah, very expensive to get there.
Brisbane's a lot cheaper. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind
Brisbane
going
would
there.
Be good. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, but I don't know if I see Brisbane losing at the Gabba this week. It's a tough one.
It's going to be a great game. We'll get to the games soon.
We could even play Melbourne at the G, actually. So, it's very interesting.
It's exciting that there's so many different options.
Exciting but nerve-wracking. Yeah. Because you'd almost want to know now so you can start planning for what's going to happen. But that's all footy, I guess, part of it. So.
Well, a team that won't be planning for anything is the Saints. I mean, they might be planning their end-of-season trip, but that's about it.
There's still a mathematical chance.
They're not making it, especially when Max King is kicking like that.
Yeah, and look, I know it's been touched on and scrutinised a fair bit. I was at the game. So I went to 3 games of footy this weekend.
It's a big weekend for you.
3 games of footy. I went to the Saints Brisbane game, went to Carlton Melbourne, and then I went to Tigers Hawks on the Sunday. So 3 days straight, fronted up, played footy on Saturday, so I'm all footied out at the moment. Yeah, it's been a big week.
I think you like footy.
I love it, No, funny that. But, look, it was Saints had their chances. And, you probably can point the finger at King and say it's mostly his fault. I mean, he kicks a few of those goals. Could be a different story, but you don't know. It's one of those things, isn't it? Like he could kick his first goal, just say he takes a shot, goes into the middle. Brisbane kick 3 straight out of clearances, and then So it's easy to point the finger at Max and say we lost because of him, but you never know because the game changes if he kicks one through and it goes back to the centre. But it's still not good signs. Max King missing like that. And they're all directly in front, like 20, 35 metres out, 20 to 35 out. Like, they weren't really difficult kicks, which is the worrying thing.
It's all mental game with him.
Has to be. Does St Kilda kind of have egg in their face now after refusing outside help? Was Matty Lloyd a couple of years ago? I was going to say that, and then they've come out again and said, no, we're not going to be seeking external help. We back the people that we've got here. Well, it's clearly not working, but the people that you've got there. I don't understand what the issue would be with bringing someone, like, just say it was Lloyd again, and helping him with his technique. Yeah. What would the issue be? Like, why is there an issue?
I'm not sure. I think it probably undermines who they've got at the club.
But who do they have at the club?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's the point. That can't be like, it's not no one that notable. I mean, we'll probably get found out by Saints fans now I've said that, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what the issue would be with going to Matty Lloyd and saying, just help me tweak my technique a little bit. It might help me kick straighter. Yeah. Or just
Matty Lloyd's come out many times like offering to help.
And said he'd happily do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it might even be a mental thing, like change this about your mindset and you won't, you know what I mean? You'll think differently when taking a set shot. Who knows what it'll be, but I don't understand why you wouldn't seek that outside help. And Max King took the initiative to go reach out as well. So he did that. And then the Saints shut it down. So do you blame King? I mean, you also got to have a bit of responsibility and stuff to be able to kick straight. But he's done the right thing by trying to find help, and the Saints have shut it down. So a lot of questions there.
Definitely. I think they absolutely need it for him. You know, we know how good he can be. I mean, it wasn't too long ago when people were comparing him to Buddy Franklin. So he's got a lot of talent. He just needs to get his kicking boots on and he'll be fine. But yeah, I think, Lloydie was probably as good as they get in terms of set shot goal kicking. He was a freak at it. He rarely missed.
Right up there, wasn't he?
If King can get his help, I think that'll do him a world of good. Just on that game, Brisbane. How good is Cam Rayner?
Wow,
I think was that his breakout game.
I think it was. I mean, we all knew how good he was, but he could, be that X factor come finals that we've seen so many other players do in the past. So he could honestly be that that player that just rips the finals apart. So if he gets an opportunity, to do that, I think he absolutely will. So I'm loving what we're seeing from Cam Rayner. He was great, and like the theatre behind it, he shushed the crowd at one point. Like it was, mind you, it was a pretty small crowd. It wasn't many people to shush, but it was still theatrical, and I liked it a lot. Yeah,
very good to see. Well, big news as we sort of gone to air tonight.
Gone to air now, have we?
Broadcasting.
Channel 7, are we?
Just as we broadcast. Well, not really. I mean, it's been news throughout the day since the morning as the Essendon Footy Club in absolute turmoil. Just kind of out of nowhere. I mean, they got absolutely flogged by Port in one of the most embarrassing losses, really. They were insipid. And then it all kicked off Monday morning with the president resigning. There was reports that Ben Rutten was sacked, which has turned out he hasn't.
I'm still not convinced.
Yeah.
He might not have been sacked today.
The time of recording, he hasn't been officially sacked just yet.
Well, that's it. I mean, like I said, he might not have been sacked today, but tomorrow, next week.
Yeah, who knows?
You presume they were trying to get in quickly for Clarko, the race for Clarko. You'd imagine that's why they're trying to get in quick. And if I was North Melbourne, I'd be a little bit anxious at the moment.
I've heard it's done with North. Clarko's done.
That's the thing, but then I heard today, I mean, you don't know what to believe. I heard today that apparently Clarko actually would have preferred to go to Essendon if that had been on the table earlier. So, I mean, who knows if that... Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, though, Rutten's still locked in at this stage. So, until we get something changes. But the thing that I found disappointing from an Essendon perspective was I think it's been about 4 or 5 times now this year that Rutten has said along these lines that this is disappointing and we won't stand for it or tolerate it. But then it continues to happen over and over and over again.
Yeah.
For a side that made the finals last year, what's the answer?
Yeah.
How do you continually put these performances up? Like, do you just trade half the team and rebuild again? Like, you can't surely start from scratch. They've got good young crop coming through, but is it the senior players? I've got no idea what's going on.
Stinks of David Teague's last season at Carlton.
Yeah, there's a lot about it.
Very similar, where the cliche lines in the press conferences and
we won the inside 50 count.
Yeah, all that garbage. Yeah, it's very similar timelines as well. Both, I mean, is it just about if he coaches next week, he would have completed his second season as coach.
Yeah,
which Teague had 2 seasons as well. So he got sacked on his last game. So it's very similar, but I don't know. What do you think happens? Do you think he sees it out, or do they give him another year? Or And
it's
if
hard to
Clarko wants
say.
to coach Essendon, Clarko's going to coach Essendon.
That's the thing. And has anyone spoken to Clarko? I mean, the Bombers have been doing themselves an injustice by not reaching
have
out.
to.
And you presume they probably already have. I mean, the rumour's going to come from somewhere. I mean, Neil Mitchell was the one that dropped the news that Rutten was gone. And Neil
Really
Mitchell doesn't
strange,
even cover
wasn't it?
football. Yeah. So, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, I say. So I reckon Essendon probably has reached out. And whether someone's taken them reaching out is Rutten's definitely gone, or it's you know what I mean. It could just be they've reached out. He's not available. It's all right. We'll stick with Truck, see how he goes.
Yeah.
Or because I mean, I feel like Clarko, you're going to take over most coaches, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, if you're a coach and you haven't won a premiership recently, you're probably a chance to, like you're on the chopping block of Clarko's in the picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll be doing themselves an injustice by not asking, but it's going to be real interesting times ahead for the Bombers because. Last round, obviously, this week, and then the season ends? Is that when they pull the pin on him?
Yeah, I know.
Let him finish the year?
Yeah.
No.
Who knows? It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, but I hope Clarko goes to North for many reasons.
It'd be a better story, I think.
Former player.
Exactly right. Former player. I think he's still got a lot of mates around North Melbourne. Yeah. North of
struggling club.
They
need someone like Clarko.
That's the thing. Like Essendon, they're struggling on field, but they're still a massive supporter base, a big four club in Melbourne. Like they've still got all that around them where North don't have that.
Yeah.
They're just kind of strugglers at the moment. So they'd need someone like Clarko to come and turn things around because, Tasmania could be looking good for North otherwise if they don't shape things up. So, I don't think that'd actually ever happen, but you know what I mean. So it'd be good for Clarko to go there, and I reckon he will, like a big call. That's what
I was going to say. That's why, I called it, so I know what's happening. So don't try to tell me he's going to Essendon.
Mate, you're all over it.
I'm all over it.
All over it, absolutely.
Well, the Pies, their bubble finally burst on the weekend.
It was bound to happen. And I did say last week, I think it'll happen against the Swans and I'll get that kick up the arse they need before finals, which I think every club, not that you want to lose, but I think every club wants that reality check rather than going in with an overly big head. And they got that on the weekend. Yeah, the Swans just sort of picked them apart and looked super dangerous. Now Sydney is sitting second on the ladder.
Yeah, they're looking very good, the Swans. Very dangerous. I think they're a real chance for the flag.
Like you think about the caliber of players they've got, like Buddy Franklin, as old as he is, still had a blinder of a game. Like you got these young guys like Heaney, Heaney's not even as young as you think, but he's still like 25, 26.
Yeah, he's a star. Papley's playing some really good footy.
Papley, you got the McCartan brothers,
Parker,
Warner,
Chad Warner's
Errol Golden.
Golden.
Doesn't matter. It's all the same. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they've got an unreal lineup of young crop, but also a good mixture of seniority as well. So
yeah.
And do you reckon if they go deep enough, Kennedy can come back and play a last game? Like if he's healthy, he's in the best team.
Do they put him in a final though? He's barely played all year.
Yeah, well,
yeah, I don't think so. It's too big of a risk.
Yeah, it's a risk, but I don't know. I guess
with his injury history.
I feel like they wouldn't even consider bringing him back if he wasn't 100%.
Yeah,
I think you'd chance a rusty Kennedy. You wouldn't chance him if he was
final.
I don't know. It's
in
Josh
a prelim
Kennedy.
or something.
But he's been around for so long. It's not a young guy that hasn't played all year.
You're thinking of
used to
the Sydney one, yeah, not the West Coast.
What? Yes, the Sydney one.
We are talking about the right one.
Yes, the Sydney one. We all know I've made that mistake in the past. Fuck off. So I shouldn't swear. It's unprofessional. But if you know, you know. Yes. But, I'm talking about the right Kennedy. No, but 100%. He's been around for how long now? He's one that had the most contested possession. I think.
He's been able to get on the park this year.
No, I know. I'm not saying you'd 100% put him in. I think you'd be silly not to weigh up the option. I mean, he's that experience over his whole career that I feel like he could miss a lot of footy in one season and come back and still have a good game. If his injury isn't 100%, definitely not. Because of the age he's at as well, he's more likely to do it again mid-game and then you're stuffed because you're a player down. But I reckon if he's 100%, you'd have to consider bringing him in.
It's an interesting one. I don't think I would, but I see your argument for it.
Yeah, well, it's funny I say that, but then if you go back to 2019, Alex Rance did the ACL in round one. He was pretty much good to go by grand final day. And the club, I think, pretty sure from memory, gave him the choice and said, look, if you feel fine, we'll leave it up to you. But and then someone said to him, what if you went on in the first quarter, did your knee again, and someone else has missed out on a shot, and now the team's a player down because you made that decision to go play. I mean, in hindsight, we won by 84 points, so he probably could have played. But in that, he made the call himself.
Tough to live with.
Yeah, he made the call himself to not play that game, but the club waited up, which I think you kind of have to at that point. And I feel like the Sydney would probably put it in Kennedy's hands and say, if you're up to it, it's up. Like, we'll leave it in the ball in your court. So interesting times ahead to see. He might not even get up. He might not even be fit enough to play.
I think he did his hammy pretty bad,
and they have to go deep as well.
Yeah,
like if they get knocked out. Just say they lose and they get knocked out first round. Well, obviously he's not going to be there. So interesting times.
Yep. Booing players, is it okay?
Very dependent, I think. Depends on the reason. I think, and I used the example before with you, I think if it's a Adam Sard leaving Essendon, going to Carlton deal, and then Essendon and Carlton play the next year and Essendon fans boo him, I think I like that. A bit like, again, I'll use the word again, it's a bit of theatre. And I don't mind that at all. I think you're just booing because you left your club and you're a bit salty, and it kind of adds to the atmosphere of the game and all that. And it hypes the game up a lot more. Yep. I like it quite a bit. When you're booing players because you don't like them, probably like Ginnivan was getting booed and Cripps was getting booed by Melbourne fans it was obviously for the decision that got overturned last week on the tribunal, which Cripps didn't overturn himself. So why are we booing Cripps? Whether you agree with the decision or not.
One of the most fairest players in the competition throughout his whole career. Like,
up until last week. But yeah.
That's what, but that's the first ever time he's ever come into a tribunal issue.
Yeah, there's not many reasons to hate Cripps unless he tears your team apart.
Yeah.
So I thought the booing there was uncalled for. Like I said, I was there, and every time he went near it, he was getting booed. And then Ginnivan was obviously in the news for getting booed, and I mean, it didn't seem to bother him too much on camera, but he's talked about his mental health problems in the past, so who knows? But and especially while he was injured, like, why boo a kid on the bench with he's got the jacket on, he's not playing, not taking part, he's missing the week after. Like, why are we booing him?
No need, especially if he's not on the ground.
If he's look, I feel like Jack Ginnivan is also the type that brings it on himself.
Yeah,
he's a smart ass. He gets a reaction. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
I think it'd be silly for Ginnivan to turn around and say, "Oh, I don't deserve to be booed." Well, no, you're doing a way. Doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it, but he's getting under the fan's skin, and it's no surprise it's happening.
Yeah,
but doesn't mean I agree with it. So yeah, I think if it's you're getting booed because you've changed clubs and you've gone to an opposition club, especially a rival like Carlton Essendon are, fair game. But I think in these situations, probably just park it up.
Yeah. I tend to agree with that. I think, Ginnivan's definitely brought this up upon himself. Like, he can't. I don't think he has come back and said like he doesn't like the booing, but he can't. I mean, he's the way he plays. It's that antagonistic role.
Yeah,
it's like that,
and it works though because he does it to antagonise the opposition players. But what, you think that's not going to translate to the fans? Of course it is. Yeah. So you know what you're doing, and it's working because he's a good player.
I think the issue is he was on the bench injured. There's probably no need.
No, that's where I have my issue as well. Yeah. Because he's not playing. Like, he's not doing anything. Why boo a guy that's injured?
Yeah. Fair enough if he was on the ground with the ball.
And he's being a smart ass, doing what he did against Freo when he's holding the ball.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, of course.
Not while he's on the bench injured. It's a bit rough.
No. So, maybe park that one up.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, though, that Collingwood fans getting angry with Sydney fans for booing
quite rich, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of what happens when you throw stones at glass houses?
Glass houses, fans? So, exactly.
Very interesting. But we weren't supposed to talk about it.
They aren't the brightest bunch.
No, well, a lot of them aren't. No. But we weren't supposed to talk it up. I'm going to bring it up because there's a bit of a background beef going on here between you and Max about the Pies.
Hell.
So I want to bring this up because Max reckons you won't give Collingwood any credit this year.
I gave them credit last week.
Admit that they were good. You did. I will attest to that. You did say that they were good last week. Now they've lost a game. Does your opinion waver, or do you still think they're a contender? Or do you think they're a contender? Is probably the first question.
It's a good question. Like, I definitely don't think they're not a chance, because absolutely they're a chance. If they finish in the top four, they're a big shot for it. But I think the game against Sydney was a true reflection of what's been happening over the last 10 weeks. And they just didn't. I don't know how to explain it. Like, yes, I agree that Collingwood are a decent team, but I don't think they're playing as good as what their win-loss says.
Okay. All right.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that did make sense. Yeah. You're saying that they're their win-loss record doesn't necessarily reflect their style of footy or the form that they're in.
Yes. Yeah, like absolute credit to them for 11 wins in a row. It's no fluke. But it was just the way that those wins were transpiring that put that doubt in my mind whether they're up there with the best.
Is it also a bit of Carlton Collingwood rivalry coming out? No bias?
No. I can admit when a team's good and shit.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. So, there you go. I just had to lay it all out there because there's a lot of background beef going on here, and I'm sick of translating messages. So I'm just glad it's all out there on the table.
I'm not sure if his credibility is too high either.
Oh, here we go.
Didn't you say
he doesn't have a podcast? So.
Didn't you say you didn't watch Collingwood until they started winning some games this year?
I did not say that. No.
Yeah, well,
I think the last time we watched was 2010.
Well, is he even going to watch this weekend? Collingwood?
No, he's going to the game actually.
Oh,
so
is he?
You might bump into each other. Yeah,
surprising.
he'll be there.
Okay.
So you'll probably bump into each other.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Well,
very interesting. Watch out if you're in the vicinity and you see Max Robinson and Marcus bump into each other on the weekend.
Yep. Well, we'll see. I'll make sure I'm wearing a helmet because he doesn't seem like a happy customer at the moment. So.
You're Jack Ginnivan, mate. You've Jack Ginnivan.
Yeah,
You've got under his skin.
I know. That's all right. All good. It's all a part of the Carlton-Collingwood rivalry, but rivalry aside, Collingwood's had a great season, surpassed all expectations. Fantastic what they're doing. I just don't think the way they're playing can stack up for a premiership.
Unless they're in a grand final and there's 2 points in the game.
If they keep rolling with those close games up until grand final day, absolutely they can win it. Why can't they? But I just don't think as a whole, the way they're playing, they can win it.
Yeah. No, right. I think that's fair. Nothing unreasonable about that. No, there we go.
And we'll find out this weekend when they play us.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of next weekend.
Shall we get into the games?
Let's get into it.
Round 23.
Yeah,
this is the end. This is the end. It's a bit sad.
It is. It's
weird that I'm not talking about this weekend as I don't give a shit.
Because it's over.
Usually I do not care about the last round for my team. Well, I just want the season done.
This must be one of the most nerve-wracking round 23s you've ever experienced.
Definitely.
Like by a long shot.
This is the biggest Carlton-Collingwood game I've will ever go to up until now.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a bigger Carlton-Collingwood game than what's happening this weekend.
Wow.
And this is a big Carlton game since, dare I say it, the eliminate. Well, I almost think this is bigger.
Well, it is in a sense because
we didn't even really make it that year.
No, exactly. So I think in a way there was
no pressure on us.
I think it was the win made that game what it was. Because if you had a loss, you would have been like, oh, well, we weren't supposed to be there. You probably wouldn't have taken the loss that hard that year.
Yeah.
But I think Carlton's done this year, what the expectations were, after 10 rounds compared to where you're at now, I think that's what makes this game as big as it is. Plus the fact that Collingwood are playing for a top 4 spot in the double chance. So there's so much invested in for both sides there. So
I'm going to go out and say this is Carlton's biggest game in 20 years.
Jeez.
I'm going to say it.
Well, I've told you before the game, and I'll say it again, I am going to do my best to try and get down to the game as well. I don't think I'm going to get in, to be honest with the way that the tickets are looking, but just as a neutral fan, this game's going to be incredible.
Yeah, so it's going to be huge.
I can't wait, but it doesn't start with that.
We'll end with that. Let's start. Brisbane, Melbourne, Friday night at the Gabba, just as big, huge.
Massive implications.
Winner finishes in the top 4. The loser misses the top 4.
Big.
As we expect with pending other results, but we expect the other results to go the way they do. One of these teams will miss out on the top 4.
Exactly. And Brisbane having the home advantage, they played in Melbourne. Dees got them pretty comfortably from memory, however long ago that was. But back up at the Gabba, Brisbane have found some good form. They knocked off the Saints at Marvel. I think they beat you guys the week before. So, they're in good form at the moment and at their home ground as well, a bit of a fortress up there. You think they're going to cause some damage again. And don't know, does the tough game tire the Melbourne players out a little bit, the shorter break. Not that it's that much shorter, it's only 6 days, but who knows? It's going to be tough. I think, probably unpopular opinion, I think Brisbane.
Yeah.
I think, the odds on sports bet don't suggest it, but I think Melbourne would probably be favourites just because of what they've done last year and the calibre of players they've got. But I think Brizzy
at the Gabba, I think only because it's at the Gabba.
No, same.
Definitely. if this was at the G, I'd definitely be picking Melbourne, but I think Brisbane at the Gabba. But, it wouldn't surprise me if Melbourne got up as well. So
it'd be, it's going to be a great game, but tough to call.
Yeah. Saturday Arvo, GWS and Freo at
Orange Team.
Where is it? What ground? Manuka,
whatever you want to call it. I still stand by that. It's red Manuka. Anyway, Manuka Oval. Yes, it is. And Freo, another one, playing for a top 4 spot.
Yes, exactly right. So every game this weekend pretty much means something apart from a couple. So
exactly right.
It's huge.
I think Freo win this one.
Yep.
I haven't seen enough from the Giants to give them any faith. And yeah, you're right, they have to win. So
they drop this Freo. They're not going to win the flag. If
no, if they don't beat the Giants this week, they won't win the flag. So yeah, I agree. I think Freo win this one for mine pretty easily.
Yeah, Freo as well. North and Gold Coast.
It's a nothing game.
Gold Coast, I think. Yeah. Geelong West Coast.
Speaking
first
of nothing
versus
games.
Last.
Well, this is literally nothing game. We have a top 8 team in there, but the 2 games clear on top. Geelong, so it makes no difference if they win or lose. No, it doesn't. They can lose and they'll still finish first.
This is just a nice tune-up for them.
100% gives Cameron a week to rest after we heard he did his hamstring, low grade, so he'll miss. But yeah, no, Cats quite comfortably.
What are the odds on this one?
$1.02 for Geelong to West Coast $15. A bit of a blowout there.
Yeah, and West Coast have a horrific record at Geelong as well.
Yes, they
Even
do.
when they were good, they could never win there. So imagine what this week's going to do.
Yeah, nothing good for them.
Saturday night, Essendon Richmond.
Another rivalry game. We talked about Carlton Collingwood. I mean, there's not anything really on the line for this one. I mean, Richmond win this, we probably finish. We would. We'd lock in 7th spot, but it doesn't really matter. We don't know who's gonna finish where above us anyway. So,
but you lose, you go 8th if Carlton win.
Yeah, so if we lose, we go 8th if you guys win, but 7th, 8th spot
doesn't matter.
Doesn't really matter too much. So it's a bit of a nothing game as well. The week Essendon's just had, I mean, everything points to Richmond unless they sack Brett Rutten. Brett Rutten. I was looking at a photo of Rats on my thing. I had Rats on my screen and I was looking at him.
They are very similar.
Well, they've got they're in
name wise.
They're in similar situations as well. I guess with disappointing seasons. But no, I think if Essendon don't sack the coach, then we'll be right.
Yeah, I think Tigers will win. Essendon have been putrid the last couple of weeks, and I think you guys want to go into the finals with form. You'd say. Yeah,
well, we've won 3 on the trot at the moment. I mean, we win another one. 4. I mean, not that Brisbane was probably the big one, but yeah, you're going with 4 wins in a row in the finals. You're going pretty confident, I'd imagine. So yeah, I think we win this pretty comfortably.
Yep. Also on Saturday night, we got the showdown, Port Adelaide and Adelaide. Nothing game, but both been in pretty good form of late. Adelaide have won 3 in a row, and Port obviously had a big win against the Bombers
after losing 4 in a row. So they've bounced back strong. But I think Port, their win-loss record again doesn't reflect, I think, their ability and where they can go. So obviously no finals for either side. But yeah, I think Port will get this one done. They just look the more mature, better drilled side.
Yep. I think Port as well. This is where it gets interesting. Sunday afternoon, Hawthorn and the Bulldogs.
Well, I know who you want to win.
Down in Tassie. Oh, this is, after what Hawthorn dished up last week, I'd give them absolutely no hope. But
that's the thing. And with the players they're missing. Jeez, I'm yawning. You're boring me with this stuff. I was trying to hold it.
Hawthorn's just tired you out.
I was trying to hold it in. I couldn't hold it in. It's been a long day for me. But
and you gave it the sound effect as well.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to hold it. I couldn't do it. We've got
and you're playing netball tonight.
Yeah, 9:30 game. It's 20 past 8 at the moment. 9:30 game. Geez, it's gonna be a long one. But yeah, no, for me, doggies get this one done. I mean, Tassie, which plays in Hawthorn's favour normally, but with their full side not in, I think it's going to be hard, and the Dogs need to win.
Well, with fine, exactly. Dogs win. They've just got too much on the line to. I mean, I'd absolutely love to see Hawthorn win because it would lock us in for finals, no matter what happens in the Collingwood game.
Which would be a lot less stressful for you, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely. But then at the same time, I'd rather us go in with the want to win anyway. Just form wise, you want to go. You just said you could be going into the finals with 4 wins in a row. We'd be going in with 4 losses in a row if we lost to Collingwood and snuck in. So
that's true, but I feel like the rivalry between Carlton and Collingwood would be enough to give you guys the want.
Exactly.
Regardless.
In front of 90, 95,000 people. Yeah, should be right up there. But yeah, back to the Hawthorn game before. We're creeping to Carlton Collingwood way too eagerly.
Carried away.
But yeah, I think the Bulldogs should get the job done there. But
Absolutely.
wouldn't surprise me with the Hawks. They're good down in Tassie. So
Well, yeah, they've done some dangerous things there, but I think with their side out, it's going to hurt them.
yeah, here it is.
We finally got
The big one.
It is the big one.
Carlton Collingwood. Is my love for Carlton aside, this is a massive. How do you, as a neutral, see this?
Well, like I said,
Like, are you as pumped up as Carlton Collingwood supporters would be?
maybe
Just
not,
as a neutral.
maybe not as a Carlton Collingwood fan would be, but I'm not far behind. I'm over the moon that this is the matchup that's happening, and obviously not ideal for you guys. But when you guys lost on Saturday night, I thought this game has so much riding on it now. It's going to be huge. The atmosphere will be pumping. The players will be up and about, and this has made it even more exciting for mine. I'm looking at the sports bet odds. Do you want to know what the odds are?
They're dead even, aren't they?
They're dead even.
What is it?
$1.92 for $1.92. They're dead even odds. So you can't even really separate these two sides. And Carlton need to get Collingwood back for earlier in the season. And it's huge, Collingwood want to get back at Carlton so Max can piss off Marcus. It's just, there's so much going on with this game. It's going to be massive. But I don't know. I don't know who to tip.
Yeah, what's your tip?
I don't know. Look, my tip is Carlton, and multiple reasons. Hard to separate them, but my tip is Carlton. One, because I think they've had too good of a season to not play finals now. I think they deserve to play finals with the season they've had. You could argue that, the games have coughed up means they don't deserve it, but I think with the form that they've had, the way they've turned their club around in the last year and a half, I think they absolutely deserve to be there. And I think when they're at their best, they're hard to stop. And I think the loss on Saturday night is going to hurt. It's going to sting. And I reckon they'll come out pretty hot. I don't know. Is that just me?
Puts us in the finals.
Well, that's the thing. Collingwood, yes, they want to play top four, obviously, but I feel like making the 8 compared to making the top 4 has a little bit more weight to it, because the top 4, you're still playing finals regardless. If you fall out of that top 4, you want the double chance, obviously. But I think there's a little bit more weight riding on it for Carlton. I just think that you'd imagine that would have to get them over the line, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you'd think so, and you'd hope so.
With Ginnivan to miss and potentially not Treloar. Treloar's definitely not playing for him on the weekend. DeGoey isn't playing for him.
Tyler Adams
is most likely out.
So they're big outs for him.
And I know you guys are missing Kennedy as well, though. So,
but then Will Setterfield came in for Kennedy, or essentially for Kennedy last weekend, and played his role and did very well. Was incredibly impressive. So if he slots into Kennedy's position, we've got that covered quite well. So Chero should come back in this weekend too. And we threw Doherty into the midfield last week, who was great in there.
Yeah, this is a big one.
This is massive. Like, I feel sick about this game. Like, I don't think I've been this nervous for a Carlton game in years. I probably can't even think of the last time I was.
I'm anxious for you.
There's just so much riding on it. The fear of failure, because we've been dreaming of finals all year. We were there, about to finish in the top 4 at one stage, and to miss out entirely and to do it against Collingwood of all teams would be bloody hard to take. But
I think especially if Collingwood whip out the Collingwood chant.
Yeah.
If it's late in the game, they're up by, say, 10, 15 points, and you start to hear the Collingwood.
That would be
Have to excuse us there, guys. Marcus got way too excited talking about Carlton Collingwood, and we had to have a change of pants, but we're back. We're back after that short little break. We finished talking about the game now. I think, I tipped Carlton. Who did you? You didn't give us your tip.
Yeah, we can't lose this.
Are you manifesting it? I think
you
were doing it before. You were saying, we've got this. I think you're just speaking it into existence.
I think so. Yeah, I just think we there's too much on the line for us to lose that, I think. Finals on the line. We're playing Collingwood, 95,000 people there, coming off a heartbreaking loss. Yeah, I think we can't drop it.
All right.
Not saying we won't, but I'm just in my head, we can't.
I think everyone knows what you mean.
Yes.
Except Max.
Yeah.
But we'll move on. We got St Kilda Sydney last game.
Final game.
Finishes it off. It's a weird one because obviously St Kilda's done. But Marvel Stadium. Swans need to win for top 4 as well. They could fall out of the top 4, which is bizarre, seeing as they're second on the ladder as we speak. But I think Sydney is just way too good, way too strong, and they'll get the job done.
Yeah, I think Swans as well. Saints are done now, so I think Swans are looking way too good to drop that one. Alrighty, that is it. That is our last season preview.
That's
a round.
Yeah, round preview.
Round. I said season. Jeez.
You said season.
Round preview.
We all knew what you meant.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, let's. Well, you got your segment tonight.
I got my segment tonight.
Last week.
It honestly could be that where it finished. Round 23 is here, and that could be my Crime River season's done.
Well,
but it's not. So we'll get into it either way. Probably spoken about this one before. I'll get right into it. It's the stand rule. Now, I've touched on it. I've spoken about the umpires, the ruling before. And I can't remember the players involved, but I saw another example of it on the Friday night for the St Kilda Brisbane game. And I can't believe that this rule went around for a second year straight and that there's a good chance it'll go around again next year. For such a small infringement of potentially taking a step to the side and a 50-metre penalty comes into place, and most of the time it results in a goal, I think is way too harsh of a penalty for way too small of an infringement. And on the weekend, like I said, I can't remember the players involved, but I'm pretty sure St Kilda had the ball about 55 metres out, and the Brisbane player sees, I believe it was Zach Jones running on the outside, running for an open footy. Now, the Brisbane player just instinctively has gone a step sideways to try and cut Jones's run off. He's taken one step, realised, and stopped. Like, he stopped himself after taking one step, but he's moved, so it's a 50-metre penalty, and they go to the goal square, kick a goal. Didn't obviously change the result. However, that is way too harsh of a penalty, and that was just one example that reminded me that why this rule is so flawed. I mean, there's other rules in the game that people aren't fans of, like the 666, but I can see reasons why that's working. And yeah, I think the stand rule occasionally comes into play and does some good things, but I think it's just the penalty for moving ever so slightly is way too harsh. Yeah, I think it's going to go.
Yeah, completely agree. I think this will be scrapped in the off season.
Imagine, hypothetically, a team loses a grand final because someone took half a step to their right on the mark, and then they get a 50-metre penalty into the goal square and they kick goal, win the game.
Yeah. For
half a step to the right. Like, yes, it's the rule, I know, but that is a ridiculous rule and a ridiculous punishment. So, yeah, it's going to go.
Yeah. No. I completely agree. Big call time.
You got one?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're probably nervous.
I've been really good with them lately.
That's the thing, and I understand that you're probably nervous to. It's almost like when you're shooting hoops and you're about to walk off the court and you go, I can't leave till I hit that last one. You hit it. It's a beautiful shot. You've loved that you hit it, and you want to have another one because you've got that temptation. Now you're on a bit of you've got form and you're on fire, but you got to walk away from it. But you're not doing that tonight. You're giving us a big call.
No. Okay. My big call this round.
Your big call is you forgot the sting.
Oh, I've been all over the shop tonight. Big call. I'll stick with the blues pies flavour. The game will be decided after the siren.
Oh, God. I don't think you'd survive that.
No.
I honestly don't think you would survive if it came to a queue. Doesn't have to be a part of the big call, but who do you reckon kicks it?
I'd love for it to be Jack Nunes again, but
surely not. If you had to pick any player from Carlton, you'd go Nunes.
Nah. Oh, geez. Yeah.
I know who I'd... If I was a Carlton supporter, I know who I'd want to kick it.
Charlie?
No.
Who?
Sauce.
Yeah. He doesn't miss a set shot.
Doesn't miss set shots, and he is Carlton.
Oh, yeah. Geez.
His blood would be Navy. Like,
he'd strip and run into the crowd. He would. That's how much it means to him.
Maybe I changed my opinion then and who would want to take that last kick.
Right to where you're sitting.
Yeah. But no, I reckon if I was a Carlton fan, I'd want Sauce taking that shot. Yeah. He is the club.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, if you think of it like that, or I mean, if you're going to say Sauce, you can say Paddy Cripps.
Yeah, you could. I just think because of the family legacy with Sauce. I think that's the one. Like imagine, obviously very hypothetical, but imagine he kicks it, you guys play finals, you make it all out of a grand final, and you watch it, you know what I mean? And then years to come, you remember you got there because Jack Silvani.
Yeah, it's true.
Like it's Silvani. Like, yeah, I feel like that'd be huge.
Well, that's how what happened with Melbourne last year. Max Gawn kicked the goal after the siren in the last round against Geelong, and look what happened.
Yeah, a little different because Melbourne were guaranteed finals at that point. They weren't playing for a finals spot.
They were playing for top spot.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very different. But yeah, they're right. He kicked the goal after the siren. But
why is maybe that was
my
next big call.
If Silvani misses this one, you guys don't play finals, and if you know, it's different. But anyway.
I probably should. I probably shouldn't have said anything. Now, if that happens, I'll even just thinking about that just makes me ill. All right, that's enough.
Yeah, we're done.
That's enough. Last round of the season. How crazy. Next time we speak, it's going to be a preview of the final series. Can you believe it? We will know the matchups by then. And yeah.
I can't believe that.
It's crazy. So thank you again for tuning in, and we will chat next week.